All right, so today I'm gonna do a start on the new motherboard with the new CPU. I installed the CPU water block, integrated it right here. So as you can see, it comes in quite nice. I test fired it last night, and everything's flowing the right direction, in the right direction. There was some question if you're considering putting a water block on your CPU, you got to make sure you put the inlet correctly where the water goes in, because there's a bunch of fins that kind of disperse the water, and that's kind of straight down in the middle of the CPU. That's how you decide which is the inlet, because there is nothing on there that says which is the inlet and which is the outlet. So the inlet is the one, again, that's straight in the middle and has these fins that you can see. And then there's one that comes out the side that looks like it's kind of on the side of the block. So in my setup, the inlet is coming into the GPUs. Here it says in on this Bixby. So the bottom part of this block, this splitter block, is the inlet. So that's the inlet, goes down, or pushes water down. That's cold water, because cold water is coming from here, right? It's coming from the pump, cold water in, gets heated up, comes back out, comes up the top, goes out here or here into the radiator. There's a big radiator and a small radiator, and there are three Noctua fans on each radiator. So it pushes a lot of air, but they're quiet. That's why I like them. So anyway, let me start working around, trying to figure out what I'm going to do next, because I want to fire this up and see if it works. I have to plug in a GPU for the video, because this motherboard doesn't have onboard video. So I need to, well, I don't know. I don't see anything. I see a Type C, but I don't see any video. So there's no video on here, so I'll have to probably pick this one. So I need to plug that back in. Let's take these off. Cable management. I love the Velcro cable management. Just makes everything really look nice. Feels nice too when you actually can see everything. So let's do this. I'm going to use I think I said 1X lane on one of my previous videos. This is a 4X lane, and that's a 16. I think that's what we got. So I'm going to plug this in this first one here, and then that should fire up that GPU. Now I need power, so I am going to use this one for the riser. Let's see. We got risers are a pain in the ass if you don't have them out first. I forget which way it goes, but pretty sure it's upside down. His fingers aren't small enough. God, it's so annoying. So get this sucker in there. Yeah, that's not. It's because these things split. See, there's one hanging off the end, so you can have a 3-pin, or a 6-pin, I should say, and then it goes on the end there to make an 8-pin. Makes it really hard when you're trying to get in small spaces. God, that's not it either. What's going on? Actually, I think I'm doing this backwards. It used to be this way. And the fact that this is, got all the tubing and everything already in there. When I was doing this before, when I was building it, I got all this stuff sorted before I had all this in there. So it was hard, or it wasn't as hard. I don't want to screw up the riser by, God, this is not easy, man. What is going on? Fuck. Maybe it's a 3. Yeah. Huh. I mean, it's a 6-pin. What the hell am I thinking? See, it's been a while since I've done this. So the riser's a 6-pin. So that goes in there nice. Now, make sure that's fitted correctly. Okay. Now I need a GPU power cable. Thing is, with the cables, you have to get one for the riser, but then this, on the same power supply, you need to move. You need to have it for the actual GPU. So, and the GPU requires 2. So there's 2. There's an 8. No, there's 2 8s, 2 8-pins. So what I've done is I kind of got one here, right, and you got one on one, and then you tie the other one together. That doesn't seem right either. What's going on? Where's all my stuff? Huh. Okay, so let's do this. I think what I did is I've got one that does the riser and one that powers. Shoot, I forgot which one. The one I think that's closest to the main board is the one that takes the most power, and this is kind of an overage. So that's what I was doing. I wasn't doing the risers by themselves. I was actually putting plugs in a configuration where you could have the plug on the riser and then one on the GPU. So this is a 6 and a, yeah, so here we go. So this, can't really see it, but what I did is I rigged up a combination plug where that's an 8-pin, and then you've got a 6 and an 8. So that covers the riser, right? And then that's the initial power, and then that doesn't make any sense. Those are way too close together. It doesn't make any fucking sense. What did I do that for? And there's no way it's going to fit all the way down there. Well, I have to figure this out, because this makes sense that I split those, but does not make sense. Well, this is what happens. It's been a while, man, since I've done this, so I don't know how I configured all these. That makes way more sense. Okay, so here's one where I've got one plug split up. That's riser and power right there. Right? That is riser and power. So let's put that on. Go. That's a riser and power. So here's riser. Fine. And then you've got power that comes up and onto this one. Okay. Now I just need a 8-pin. Maybe that's what this was for. I don't think so. I need an 8-pin by itself. But these are all tied up together. Oh, there's one. Okay, there's an 8-pin by itself. So then here's the 8-pin. You got to push that together. And then you got it on there. Okay. So now the GPU is powered. Riser looks good. So now I need to plug in the screen. So the screen works off of an HDMI. So here we go. And that GPU. Okay. So I think we're looking pretty good. So we need to do both GPUs. Or I mean, both PSUs have to be turned on, because this one over here is powering the fans and the radiator, well, the radiator fan. So we need that to cool. So we don't want to mess with the Threadripper overheating. We have to turn these on at the same time. Now, I haven't fired this up ever. So I don't know if this power button here is going to be legit or I'm going to have to wire some little button or something. I just want to see it start up. I want to see things light up. If it does that, then I can move on. So let's double check. We got the CPU, we got the cooler involved. We've got the memory in. We got this PSU is going into both power ports, 24 pin and whatnot. We do have a M.2 in here. Again, nothing's going to come on because I don't have an OS installed, but I want the BIOS to start up, and I don't have a keyboard, so I can't really hit the BIOS, but that's not important. I just want to see the thing power on. If you have any faults or issues, it'll tell me, I'm sure, in this little screen right here. So, both are off. All right, let's see. Plug them in. Okay. GPU is plugged in. Moment of truth. Let's see what happens. Both at the same time. Yeah, the lights came on the motherboard, so that's sweet. I don't know what that red thing is, but I don't see anything on the screen. Uh-oh, I hit the button and it's coming up. The memory is showing life. The memory is lit up. You got 25 degrees Celsius on the CPU, it says. Nothing on the screen, though. But this has been a successful test. And you see how quiet that is? Amazing. Before, with all those GPUs having fans, dual fans, actually, I think this might have had 3 fans each GPU. These big ones, I think, only had 2 fans. But all those running, and a CPU fan running, it was loud as hell. It was ridiculous. Look at these PSUs. They're champs. Nothing's spinning. They're not even, I mean, they're not under load, so I guess that doesn't matter. But you can see now how it's working. The pumps are just firing really hard. I mean, this is really, I may have a little bit too much flow. If anybody out there is a expert, I don't claim to be an expert in water cooling. Again, I learned as I went, and I built this by hand. So if I did something wrong, please comment. Please help with that regard, because I feel like I've got an out here and an out here that go to the radiators. As you can see, both. So I'm thinking there's a flow thing. That's why I bought this splitter, is so that the flow is under control. But I felt like I needed 2 of these because I had 2 pumps. You know, I didn't want it to be too hardcore and, you know, pushing. So I have this as a failover pump, just in case one of the pumps fails. There's too much money in those GPUs to have one of the pumps fail. So, and these are separate. They're separate lines. So this has to have 2 on this line of 4 and this line of 4. So, well, I mean, it's still running. So didn't hit a fault. I don't see anything on the screen though. So I don't know. Anyway, so I guess that's test 1 job done. So let's switch them all off, and then call that successful. Yeah, if you haven't liked, subscribe, please do so if you enjoyed this video.